So this is the Donner PC-02 integrated audio production workstation. Donner sort of started out creating very affordable and beginner guitars, guitar pedals, and all that. But recently they really upped their game with much more higher end audio equipment. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about this piece of gear in particular. I'm gonna go over all of its features, what it can do for you, and much, much more. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. I'm just gonna run down everything it does first. I'll go over all of the inputs, outputs, all the buttons on the front of this thing, and then I'll actually use it, highlighting some of its features so you can see it in action. So essentially, this thing can be used for live streaming, podcasting, and home studio producing. It's multifunctional, so it's perfect for musicians, content creators, and all those types of creative people. So if you do tons of different things in that creative world, this thing could be perfect for you. So let's first take a look at the back with all the inputs and outputs. So it starts with a power button and a power supply. It then has a micro SD slot that actually does come with a little card that's used for direct recording, which is super great for post editing. And it's also really great that they actually give you one of these and not make you go out and buy it yourself. Next is a game optical port for connecting video game devices if you're streaming. Then we got a USB-C port to connect to your computer or phone devices. Moving on, we have 4 main outs for headphones, and then we have 2 main outs for TRS balanced, which can be used for connecting your monitors or an audio interface. Next is the line in and out mini jacks. Then we got 4 XLR, TS, or TRS input jacks. Input 3 and 4 are designed for connecting condenser mics like the one I'm using right now, which is the WA-47 Junior, and 1 and 2 are designed for dynamic mics like an SM57 and all that. If you put a condenser mic in 1 and 2, it's just not gonna work, so make sure you have both your condenser mics or one in inputs 3 and 4, and all of them do, except if you're plugging guitar, bass, or any instrument like that, they'll all work just fine. All right, jumping to the front of this thing, I'll turn it on. You can see what it does. So starting with the 4 monitor control knobs, these will just adjust the output levels of the headphones. We then have motor faders A through D. These adjust the volume of each channel, and fader E will display the volume of the sampler and will mute all channels except for the sample when pressing the solo button. And if you want to unsolo this, you just quickly hit that and it'll go back to what you had it adjusted to previously. The sampler are just all of these pads right here. You can press each to get their own different sound effect. They give you 9 to start with, but you can add your own and you can have up to 27 different types of effects, and I'll show you all of them in detail later. All the solo mute buttons do exactly what you think they do for each channel. If you want to mute it, you press it, it'll bring the fader all the way down. If you want to solo it, it'll bring the rest down. Now jumping to the screen portion, we have an effect indicator, which displays the effect type currently loaded on the main channel. So right now we have gate on, EQ, a robot effect, a megaphone effect, compression, a de-esser, pitch, and reverb. Now we also have auto tune and delay that are not on right now, as you can see, because they are not lit up. Then we got a great looking and easy to control display screen where you can mess with all sorts of parameters of each channel, control the input and output levels, and much, much more. So the value knob will guide you through the display menu and will help you adjust different parameters. It's basically just your mouse through all of this. And then the main knob right here just adjusts the output levels of the main out. So all of this all combined, this is basically your master volume. So let's now take a look at the buttons in between the faders and the screen. So the 3 bank or mixer buttons will show different things for each bank on this main screen right here. So bank 1 is the primary channel setting of the mixer. This is where you can control your condenser or dynamic mics. Bank 2 and 3, they control the lines, in and outs, Bluetooth, the game optical, USB-C, and the rest of all that's on the back of this thing. The next button we have is effect. This is where you can add different effects such as compression, reverb, delay, EQ, noise gates, pitch, auto tune, and all of that to each of the different channels. Next we have the sampler, where you can change the sample sounds, adjust where you want each one to be. You can add your own, and I'll get into more details on this in a second. But then we have Bluetooth, where you're just turning it on to connect your phone or whatever else. Then we just got a simple record and play button, and that speaks for itself. And last but not least, a system button that guides us through the settings to change how you want to view things and all that. So this next part of the video, I want to show you how it sounds when I record myself through it. I'll go over all of the effects, the sampler pads, and how to record your own. All right, so what you're hearing right now is this condenser mic plugged directly into the PC-02. I'm just going to put some of the effects and the sampling pads in action so you can sort of hear it in real time. Now, there's tons of different ways where you can record yourself. You can record directly through this thing to the SD card. I'm actually not doing that in this case. I'm recording just straight through Logic, and then I'll bounce the file, and then that's what you're hearing right now. Now, I'm adding no external EQ, compression, and all that in Logic. All what you're going to be hearing is straight through this thing. So as you can see on the screen portion, we have EQ and compression being highlighted, which means that they are on. Everything else is off: auto-tune, delay, gate, de-esser, reverb, all that. So I'm actually plugged into input 3 since I'm using the condenser mic, which means if I'm in bank 1, I can control that through C. So you couldn't hear me talking. You get the point. Now I can solo myself if other people are talking on your podcast, or for whatever reason. There's many reasons you could use that for. Or if I want to mute my... All right, so getting into some of the effects, you simply just go hit Effect. You go to wherever input you're in. I'm in input 3. Now, this is where you can mess with tons of different effects. Now, when you go to the specific input you're in, this is where you can change the noise gate, compression, de-esser, and EQ. Now, I'll leave the compression on because I like how it sounds. So I'll jump into EQ. Now, I'm going to show you how it affects your voice through the microphone when you mess with the different parameters of the EQ. So I'll bring down the 200 hertz. Now, as you can see, that you bring down the low end. So now I bring that up. You got much more. So if you want more beefy like voice and sounds like that, lower the 600. You can really hear it really does have a big effect. So you can mess with these as much as you want to see what works best for your setup and your sound, or whoever you're having on your podcast or whatever you're doing on your live stream. So I'll show you how well the noise gate is on this thing. If you listen in the background, got some buzzing. I think it's my refrigerator or whatever it is. If I turn this on, you can't hear it. So it drops out all the sound in between my sentences and words. So you can hear it slowly fade out, and you can actually change how quickly you want that background noise to fade out. It could happen on an instant, or you can give it like a split second, a second, 2 seconds, whatever you want. So I'll leave the noise gate on for your sake, and I'm going to mess with some of these wet effects. Now, wet effects in this world are considered like reverbs, delays, and things like that. So let's jump right into the reverb. We have a few different options. Now we have spring, plate, church, hall, and room. Now I'll start with room, and I'll turn it on first. So here's just my dry signal, and here's it wet. So decay, this basically adjusts how long you want the tail to be. Now this is when it's low. You can see it kind of cuts right off. When it's lower and higher, you can hear it trail off much further. Tone, this is like kind of warmer or brighter. So this is a little warmer reverb, and this is just much brighter. You can hear it in the tail. Now level is just the amount you want in your signal. So this is basically off. You hear a very tiny bit of it, and then if you bring it all the way up, it's much more prominent. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera the whole time, by the way, because my neck would be killing me if I did. So for fun, because I'm obsessed with reverb, I'm just gonna leave it on, but I'm gonna dial back the amount of it. So let's move on now to delay. Now we have a few different options of delay as well: digital, analog, tape, echo, and ping pong delay. Sorry about that quick little noise. I talked too close to the microphone. You shouldn't do that. I'll start with digital delay, I guess. Turn this on and see what we get. Hello. Okay, you can hear it tail off combined with the reverb. So time basically does this. When it's all the way up, it'll just keep going and keep going, keep going. And when it's all the way down, you won't get as much delay. So the feedback, this is all the way up.
it'll just continuously go on forever. And then level does the same thing as the reverb. Just the amount of delay that happens within your signal. So let's just stick with this, and I'll change it to ping pong delay. And then we have echo. Like I said, most of these are sort of similar to each other. If you don't understand these kind of effects, if you're not like a guitar player or whatever, it can be kind of a little weird to understand, but they do different things. So this is back to my dry signal, and yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds really great. All right, now I want to move on to the sample pads. If you make a curse, if you make a funny comment, you can kind of get laughters, bleep out noises. So I'm just going to show you them right now. So this, I think it's a beep. Yep. So if you're cursing or what the you can do stuff like that. If you're, yeah. Applause when you're saying really cool shit. Really cool. Sorry. Then we got another applause. When you're inevitably hilarious like myself, you can put that on. Just like a boom. I feel you, man. I feel you. I also feel you. A nice scream. That'll help. This is like a Price is Right effect. I don't know why you had to include that, Donner, but whatever, man. Now, for each of these, if you go to the sampler, I'm pretty sure you can change the color of each effect, and you can also change what the order of the effects, and it also reads out like laugh, boom, cry, scream, shame, kiss, and all that stuff. Now, if you go over to the second, these are pretty much empty. You can choose, you can make your own if you choose to. I don't know why I said choose, but you can. Now, how you do that is this. I'm not going to touch the first 9 presets. I'm going to move over to section 2. So I'll just use this one. This is pad 9. Click it. You can change the color, whatever one you like. But here's how you sample a sound. So you just go down to sample a sound. So I'll hit this, and I'm going to record something stupid. Recording something stupid. I guess we can play it back and hear it. Recording something stupid. Okay, so that works. I guess I'll go to done. And boom, it's pink. So when we play it back, this is what we get. Recording something stupid. Perfect. So you have the sampler. You have all the really cool effects like I just showed you. I do want to show you some of like the system settings. Brightness, which I bring all the way up because I'm blind as a bat. As you can see, the screen brightness goes up and down. Not too crazy. LED brightness, that's like all this stuff. The other cool thing is you can actually change the color. So like this is blue. If you want it to be green, yellow, tons of cool different colors. So you can spice it up to whatever you want it to be. So those are just some of my favorite features on this thing. It definitely does a bunch of other things as well. I just wanted to showcase some of my favorite things and the things that I think you would like the best. So what I'm going to do now is give you my honest thoughts and maybe tell you a little bit more about it so you can better see if this is right for you and whatever you're trying to do creatively.
I think this thing is great if you're in that world of online creating for both yourself and if you are doing it with somebody else. It's perfect if you're just getting started in the podcasting and live streaming world, and it has tons of features that will actually be utilized in its day-to-day use. Almost all of the features on this thing you will love to use, and it's very easy to do so. Now, this is also one of those pieces of gear where you can split it with your co-host if you're using a podcast, so you guys can save money that way. The audio quality is really good. I love the sampling features as well as the effects features that are built into it. And if you're live streaming, it's definitely going to sound great to your audience. Now, I do still think you need a decent microphone and other nice equipment to keep that quality, so that's just something to keep in mind. So there you have it, the Donner PC-02 podcast, live stream, creation, whatever you want to call it, workstation. I think this thing is really great and versatile for someone who's looking to do one or a multitude of different online creative things. Streaming is as big as ever, so if you're going to use this thing to go live on TikTok, Twitch, and whatever else you use, just makes that whole setup process much easier. So let me know your thoughts, and if you have any questions about this, let me know down in the comments. I hope this video was helpful to you. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.